I want to call a meeting of the Rutherford County Public Safety Committee for April 28th, 2025. Good to see each and every one of you here this evening. We'll ask at this time, we'll begin with the approval of our minutes. Mr. Vice Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, I've reviewed the minutes from last month, found everything to be in order, move for their approval.
A motion they be approved. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. They have been approved. We'll begin with item 3, Emergency Services, Public Safety Director Chris Clark.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman. Do we have any public comments tonight?
No public comments.
All right.
Good evening, sir.
Chairman, Commissioners, hopefully in front of you, you have our public safety report from March the 1st to the 31st of 2025. I'd like to point out that last week was our National Emergency Telecommunicator Week. It was very nice donations to our EMA Dispatch Center, and we do appreciate all the sponsors and donations. Just a couple of little items here and there. Here recently, we've had a lot of large events that will be assembling in Rutherford County. And I just want to let you know that our public safety, our officials have been meeting on these special events and making sure that there is proper safety and security at these events. And then also remind you that graduation is approaching as well, which brings our attention, our focus. Also, in our communications, to keep you reminded that our communications center, we are also into some of the county schools and the criminal justice department. So hopefully we'll have some well-focused students that will be graduating that would entertain being new dispatchers. So with the sheriff back here, that's a whole big project that we're doing. And that's my report. If I'll entertain any questions.
Any questions for the director?
Motion to approve.
A motion to approve the report. Do I have a second? We have a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, your report has been approved.
I have a couple of other things that I need to bring to
the
committee. The first on is our amended site lease agreement with Middle Tennessee Electric. This is our Bradeville Pike Tower. It's a 10-year renewal. I believe it was back in 2015 when we made our first contract with them, and that is coming up due. And so the amendment requests an approval for this site lease agreement.
You've heard the request.
Mr. Chairman, do we have that on our SharePoint?
Yes, you do.
Okay, I'm looking.
Can you find it? I think it's about the first one, isn't it?
Apparently, I didn't go in order. I don't know how they were listed on there.
Right after.
No, ma'am.
Right after the report.
Chris, while she's looking for that, if I can ask you, where did the $3,400 amount come into? It's kind of a...
Currently, we're paying $5,500 a year for that site lease. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, I'm just seeing under rent, paragraph 5, section A, unless I'm just... for $100 per rent.
So that was back in 2015, and we made the amendment to agree And so that price goes up 5% every year, and we're at $5,538.24.
That's what I was looking for, was the
Yearly.
percentage. Okay.
C in the explains it. Other questions?
Motion to approve.
Have a second. Further discussion? Please call the roll.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Commissioner Rather,
Yes.
Commissioner Oliver,
Aye.
Commissioner McMurray,
Yes.
Commissioner Beverly,
Yes.
Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Thank y'all.
I
Okay,
believe
sir.
next is what Commissioner Oliver was referring to, the Public Assistance Small Project Certification. So this goes all the way back to COVID. They've paid us, the federal government, and this is a certification completing that project. We're requesting to allow the mayor to sign this certification.
Questions?
Motion to approve.
To approve. Have a second.
Question. Explain again, what is this?
So back in COVID, we emergency management, applied for a grant, public assistance grant, which provides assistance. Basically, we're being reimbursed for our cost. We have submitted, we have been paid, and this completes a certification completing those projects. Basically, we've been paid and we're good with it.
Thank you.
Still looking for a second. Did I get the second? Okay, have a second. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Commissioner Beverly,
Yes.
Commissioner McMurray, Commissioner James,
Yes.
Commissioner Rather,
Yes.
Commissioner Oliver,
Aye.
Chairman Reed.
Yes. Been approved.
Next is a request to apply to a mitigation grant, state mitigation grant. As you know, recently we had the Helene floods and things like that, which releases mitigation grants. We're requesting to apply for this mitigation grant for a cache of generators, smaller in nature, but a cache of generators, and also Starlink fixed assets, meaning we would put Starlink access on 12 of our buildings that are infrastructure, meaning Sheriff's Department, our public safety centers, our Ag Lane center, our IT building, things like that. So if the internet goes out, we can fire it back up with Starlink. Does that make sense? It's basically, it was a very advantageous when Helene hit in East Tennessee. There on that disaster. Request to apply.
Question.
Go ahead.
What are you currently using?
So what we use is we have our regular internet. We do have a couple of Verizon MiFis that we use for laptops. This is a plan B in the event that we do lose our internet service here in the county.
What's the value of the grant, or is there a matching, is there cost? I don't have it on here, at least I'm not seeing it.
So for the cache of generators is $30,000, and for the Starlink fixed equipment is $65,000. Basically, it is a $95,000 grant that we would our contribution would be $11,875.
Is there an obligation, like the lifespan of these versus when they expire, we're obligated for X number of years? Like if they only last 6 years, but we're obligated for 10 years?
We're only paying as we use them.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Is there a reason why it's not on our SharePoint? Do you all have it?
I don't
Because
know.
I'm not seeing anything.
Not seeing that one myself.
I'd like to be able to take a look at it.
Sure.
When does this grant expire?
That I don't know. It was introduced to me about a month ago, trying to decide what we are applying for currently. I do know that, I believe Carrie said that we needed our information in, the intent to apply by the 1st of June, I believe is what it was.
Refresh me, if we intend to apply, we still come back for accept. If we don't accept, we're not out that 10%.
Correct. It's the intent to apply. And then we'll be back to apply, or to accept. Correct.
At some point later,
It's a multitask or a multi-step process that we do. Yes, this is the intent to apply.
so tonight, it's the intent.
I'll be back to accept the, if we're awarded, then I'll come back and say, can we do this grant? I apologize.
I'd rather be able to see it. And if you don't have to apply until June, is there any reason why we can't have the information so we can look at it at our next meeting?
So exactly what do I need to present to you? It's pretty vague. I can get the contract of what that looks like, but those are the items.
So like a comparison, like what you're doing now versus what you're proposing to do, what's going to be the difference, why, the pros and cons, like we look at anything else when we change vendors or whatever the case may be. I'm just kind of curious.
Right.
Would you be open to letting him apply, and then when it comes time for him to either submit or not submit, then we have that discussion? Because that's the next step where you would have to come back to us, right?
Right.
Just that way he's got clearance to go ahead and explore the option, but before he hits submit on the actual grant, we could have that discussion then. Would the timetable allow us to even come back on this step?
It takes some time to work that up. Yes, I'll be able, if you would like, I can submit that to you, all the information that Carrie has of what the terms are.
Right, and like the cost difference, like, you're asking these kinds of questions.
Right. So our cost would be 12.5% of the total cost. So we'll be out $11,000.
I've heard of multiple approval, we give apply. I've not heard intent to apply and then apply. Or am I?
We're asking permission to apply.
Okay. I thought there was extra step in there.
And I may have misspoke. We're asking permission to apply. I apologize. Asking permission to apply, we still have to come back. Once we apply and we receive confirmation, then we ask you if we can accept the grant. I misspoke.
So there is more of a rush on time because that extra step that I made up.
I probably presented that wrong.
I think you did. I just didn't want to throw
Well,
you
he said
under
he
the
has to
bus.
apply by June, and so that's why I asked, because we have another meeting between now and June. And if we could get, something to look
And
at.
I misspoke, Commissioner.
I don't know.
What do you think, Commissioners?
I'm more on the side, let them apply, and then we can debate it when we actually have the award. Otherwise, we're debating something that doesn't matter at this time anyway.
Second.
Motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner McMurray,
Yes.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Commissioner Rather,
Yes.
Commissioner Oliver,
Nay.
Commissioner Beverly,
Yes.
Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Thank y'all.
All right, I think you got another one, hadn't you?
Yes, sir. And last but not least, this is an interlocal cooperation and mutual aid agreement for the city of Murfreesboro, Rutherford County, and Laverne. Over the years, we have combined our specialized rescue teams to formulate a task force. That task force has been sent all over the southeast, such as the last one being Helene. To formally introduce this task force to the state, we have to have a mutual aid agreement in place. This is the formal mutual aid agreement amongst our three entities to assist in formulating that specialized task force team.
Questions or a motion?
Question. So prior to this, it was just out of professional courtesy? You all never had anything in place? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am.
And the reason for this, again, is why?
Is to formally be recognized as that one task force team. And it's comprised of Rutherford County Fire, Emergency Management, also Murfreesboro City Fire, and Laverne Fire. And we come together to make one task force team.
And what will formalizing that or officially calling a task force do?
So task force are multiple different things that we run as a group, and we can accomplish different things. So strike team is all similar disciplines. A task force is a multidiscipline that we can cover different things, whether it's swift water, confined space, high-angle rescues, all those kind of things. And one of the advantages to this is we don't deplete all of our resources. So if the fire department is called to Helene, I can get 3 from Murfreesboro, 3 from Laverne, 3 from Rutherford County to make up a task force team versus all 12 or all 9 coming from just Rutherford County Fire. So it helps spread out the manpower.
Is there funding associated with this, or would you be able to apply for certain funding because you formalize and make it a task force?
Not at this time. When we deploy, we're reimbursed by the federal government of our expenditures. Actually, the people that call us pay for it, and then the federal government reimburses the disaster site itself. Usually those people are deployed under a federal declaration, which provides funding to that disaster site.
So how does that relate to some of the federal funding that's being denied in these disaster areas?
That I can't answer.
But
We
you'll
haven't
get your
approached-
money, they just won't get theirs, is
Correct.
basically.
So whenever I was deployed to Texas, I had to send my paperwork into Texas. Texas paid me, or reimbursed our county, and the federal government paid Texas during Hurricane Harvey.
Gotcha. All right, thank you.
General question for you. How come Smyrna and Eagleville aren't added with this? Is there several
It's due to the capability of the resources. A lot of those people are not trained in those areas. We hope that eventually they would join on to it. These guys and girls have been working for years together. This is just a formal mutual aid agreement to allow them to, for the state to recognize.
I'm looking down in here for the breakdown of the back down, and maybe I'm just overlooking because I'm going through pretty quick on it, but like the reimbursement of the funds, with this in place, how will that, is there a structure that shows, or am I overlooking, shows like, hey, you know, this entity would get so much, or is it based off percentage of manpower, or same with liabilities? And that's
So each individual team sends in what's called a forced labor reimbursement. Time, overtime, percentage of benefit, and they do it individually because everybody is paid different. Then we charge for the equipment. So if Rutherford County Fire sends 2 rafts, we can charge for those 2 rafts and a pickup truck or a UTV or those kind of things. So it will come right back to being reimbursed. Now, let's talk about deployments. When we talk about deployments, the paperwork and everything, it may be a year before we get our money back for their overtime.
what about the liability? Who would take the lion's share? Would it be Rutherford County as the whole, like the bigger pot versus the municipality pot?
Each individual, if you see on here, is responsible for their own.
That's what I was wanting to make sure I was looking at. Okay, so it's really just more of streamlining managerial
Correct.
accessibility.
It's exactly what it is.
Okay. Move to approve.
Second.
Other questions or a motion?
I made a move to approve, and Ramil second.
Okay. That was so long ago, I don't know. I think we got called out for interlocal services. All right, we have a motion down here. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Commissioner Beverly,
Yes.
Commissioner McMurray,
Yes.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Commissioner Rather,
Yes.
Commissioner Oliver,
Aye.
Commissioner Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Thank you.
That got you?
Chris, before you go, I do have a question for you. I wanted to ask if you could start adding a report to, or see what we could do about. I'd like to see, correct me wrong, dispatch reports to you, right? I'd like to see more of the breakdown on the dispatch. We get a pretty good one from the fire, and I appreciate that. But I would like to see more of what units are being called, what station 55, 60, whatever, I'm not sure of the terminology, but so we can see a breakdown of how many calls and also kind of how many canceled en routes each ones are being called to keep track of, to kind of see how often. I'm mostly worried about the wear and tear of the vehicles and use of that. And I just want to keep, so we can start building that knowledge base of what's going on there, or nothing, but just to have that information. Is that a report that you can put together pretty easily?
I believe that would be a fire and EMS question versus a dispatch question. They're running their reports through a different system than CAD, which that's what we manage. They're running it through their reports.
Yeah, I see
So
it on there,
completed
but I was
reports.
wondering, since they kind of reported you, if that'd be easier for you to get for the overall numbers. Just see, if we're dispatching, because furthermore, also I would like to find out, and it might be on that, let's take the fire, for example, if we're dispatching Rockville to the VA, did we call Murfreesboro first before we skipped over them with our mutual aid agreement in place, and they said no. Well, if we keep track of how many times that might be, is it worth the value of spending that if they're never answering?
So there may be something in a conversation that we have on a sidebar. I'm not exactly sure all of the information that you're requesting, and maybe we can understand
I'll
that.
fine tune it more and want to get back with you. I just wanted to see if that's something that we get numbers, and like I said, the fire does a very good job of having a good breakdown there on that one, but I kind of want to see what the different stations are being, how many calls they're going in versus canceling routes, because those are the big numbers, right? And then in addition to, are we getting the biggest bang for our buck for our municipalities agreement, or are we not? If we're not going to use them, or if they're not answering, then why are we paying?
Oh, they're answering them.
Okay, well, that's, and without the report, I don't see that.
They're answering them. In fact, sometimes there's duplication of services, and that was one of the things that we're trying to get better.
Yeah.
You through? Okay. Talk about sidebar. I thought we had a sidebar going. All right, let's move now into our emergency medical service. Brian Gaither.
Evening, Commissioners, Chairman. For the month of April, we did 4,014 calls, 8 hospital transfers, response time was 7 minutes, 7 seconds. 185 DOAs for the month, 18 of those for autopsy. We collected $1,090,654. The bottom part of that page is the cost per mile breakdown. The next page, some in-service and training for the month, and community relations and special event standbys. Our convalescent division did 361 calls, collected $1,062,324. Nope, that's year to date. Sorry, $170,541. I thought that was not correct. And then the next couple of pages is a more detailed breakdown of the report, and that's my report.
Commissioners, any questions on the report?
I have a question, please.
Yes, ma'am.
In looking at this, I was kind of noticing the write-offs that you all do. How does that affect your budget? And it's just because we're coming up on budget and things of that nature, and I was just kind of curious.
So the insurance write-off it's really hard to explain because we have our charges of what they are, and we know that certain insurance companies, for instance, Medicare, which is 50% of our payer, they pay X amount of dollars. So we know that they're already paying below those charges. TennCare even paying below that. But the commercial carriers obviously pay more. So those insurance write-offs, that number, it is what it is, but it looks like we're leaving a little more out there than we should. But it's really, we know to start with that our charges exceed what Medicare and TennCare allows.
So do you kind of factor that into your costs, because your manpower and things of that nature?
We do.
When it comes to your budget?
Yeah, so we kind of base everything off a cash per trip, and that's the number that we kind of look at and compare it to our region. And last I looked, our cash per trip was like $326 per call. It's what the revenue we're bringing in. It's a little higher than some of our surrounding and lower than others, and it all depends on that insurance payer mix. Obviously, the more commercial payers you have, the higher that number is. But it's that insurance write-off, we've included it in this report for a long time, and I've debated whether it should really be in there because it's really a deceiving number.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Move to approve the report.
Motion to approve. Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Report has been approved.
Budget amendment?
Yes.
So we're asking to move $250,000 from our paraprofessionals line item into our part-time line item, and this is to cover vacancies and FMLA leave time.
You've heard the request.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve. And a second.
Question. Is this just until the end of this budget year?
Yes, ma'am. So those positions, due to the cumulative vacancies, there's more money, and we've had to fill those with part-time people. So we're good on that paraprofessional line item. It's just to pull it down to pay the people that we paid to cover those open spots.
Thank you.
Other questions? Please call the roll.
Commissioner McMurray,
Yes.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Commissioner Beverly, Commissioner Rather,
Yes.
Commissioner Oliver,
Aye.
Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Thank y'all.
And one more thing. I spoke with Michael Smith before the meeting. We asked to apply for an essential equipment grant a couple of months ago. We did receive that grant. The money has come into the finance office. It's just not been put in the correct place yet. And I asked Michael if I needed to start that in this committee, and I don't want to throw him under the bus, but he said he wasn't sure. So I'm playing it safe and mention it in this committee that we received that money, and we'll take it to budget to see, let finance do what they need to do to get it in the right line on them.
Can you refresh us of the numbers and the details of it?
98, it's really a reimbursement grant. It's about 98,000, and it reimbursed us on some equipment that we'd already purchased.
I don't see an ability to kind of make a motion for it or nothing because it's not on us yet, but I thank you for letting us know before you present the budget next week. So,
Thank you.
and
Thank you, sir.
same question that I had with Mr. Clark there was, I'm just going to ask, maybe the three of you, Mr. Farley and Mr. Clark, we can get together sometime and kind of figure out the dispatch report, kind of break down and see where all the vehicles are moving and how many calls and things like that, try to really lock down that different thing, what I'm trying to put together. I just wanted to kind of say, hey, I'd like to, or if you guys could reach out to me about a time that works best for you three. You're at it all day, 40, 50 hours a week. So we can put that together.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I do have another question. So the grant that you're speaking of, it was brought to our committee?
Yes, ma'am.
So then shouldn't it be brought back to our committee before anything is done? That's the same question
It's
we just
already in,
asked.
it's in finance, is where it's at, right? It's already in finance. They have the money in finance. What he's talking about is bringing it to budget's attention that he wants it back into his account.
No. That's not my question. My question was, when Director Clark was up here and he was talking about a grant he wanted to apply for, and then if we get it, then we'll come back and say, okay, we accept it. I'm asking about that same procedure relative to this grant that he said that now they have received. So that same protocol doesn't apply here where it comes back to this committee?
Commissioner Oliver, there are some grants that we apply for that are new. This is a reoccurring grant that we apply for, and most of the time it's accepted, and it doesn't have to be reapproved to this committee.
And this is a no-match grant. It didn't cost us anything. We submitted for the reimbursement for the 98,000 and received it. There was no funds on the county's part.
That's what
For
makes
this
it a
grant.
little different. It's reimbursement.
Okay, thanks for the clarity, because I know we've kind of seen these before, and I was just curious when the response was they didn't know if it needed to come here or not, so I just needed some clarity there.
A lot of them, or most of them, are like that.
Gotcha.
But this is a little different. We apply for this, and it's a reimbursement grant. So we receive it. It goes through finance. It's divided back to the department.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, fire and rescue. Larry Farley.
Mr. Chairman, committee, for the month of March, we had a total of 760 calls. 10 of those were structure fires, 377 were medical calls. We had 21 MVAs with injuries, 37 without, and 2 extrications. Year to date, we've had 33 fires. It's been a busy fire season. We've had 1,109 medical calls, 56 MVAs with injuries, 113 without injuries, and 6 extrications. The next sheet is showing the county overall response with the 2 volunteer departments in Eagleville. 42 structure fires, 40 brush fires, and 227 MVAs total. Total call volume 2,306 calls for the entire county. The next sheet is what I submit to the tax assessor and the codes department for homes that were damaged by fire. The next page is a report from our fire marshal on fires that we had of residential outbuildings, brush and wildland fires, and those were investigated by our fire marshal, and those are the details and the results on the right side of the page. We had 4 alarm installations for the month of March, and then the last page is a list of the illegal burning that we responded to, and most of these people are cited by our fire marshal's office. And that concludes my report, and I have a budget amendment.
Questions on the report?
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, sir.
This budget amendment, I hope I posted this right at about lunch. The OIT told me they did get it posted, so I hope everybody's got a copy. This budget amendment appropriates money from the fire permits and deducts money from the diesel fuel to cover additional costs under our data processing services.
You see the request.
Motion to approve.
A motion to approve. Have a second. Please call the roll.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Commissioner Rather,
Yes.
Commissioner Oliver,
Aye.
Commissioner Beverly,
Yes.
Commissioner McMurray,
Yes.
Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
And
Thank you,
again, same with the other gentleman there, I'd like to try to get together to formulate that report with those individual numbers with you and Clark and Mr. Geiser.
What do you mean by individual numbers?
Like what do you call I call it the Barfield building. So or the Last Castles or the Kittrell Public Health and Safety at Rockville. Y'all have numbers. I'm not as clear on those, but I'd just like to see the breakdown, kind of like we did that one on when we had the volunteers, and I was asking, you still got it in here, where it has per one the kind of the calls, and I'd like to see.
So you want to know basically how many calls Station 51 runs,
Yeah.
Station 53. Well, I tell you what, we've got this data processing that we proposed went up because we're getting more firefighters. This is our training records and response records. When I do when these guys do the reports, it puts it in the system, and with this new system is coming up, I will be able to print you off my report will consist of and show you how many responses were from 51, 52, 53, 54, 56, and all that. It'd be broke down by the reporting system, and we've got it now. We're trying to set that up, but I've looked at it. As a matter of fact, I looked at it last week, and it actually will show you every call volume for that month for each station. So we're in the process of working on that through our reporting system.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for and hoping to see, because I'd like to see the breakdown, because you've got a great report right here where it shows me the number of the calls, but I'd like to break it down a little bit further to see just how many, like I said, like the biggest number, the only thing that pops in mind, just looked at, was the cancel en route. See how many times I got called and cancel en route, so I can see whether it's the volunteers, whether they're responding or not responding, whether it's the unit that we're hop skipping over a municipality.
You want to know when they're not responding?
No, that's not, I'm saying using as just an example of saying like how the, like maybe municipality is or is not responding. If we call them, they show up, or they don't, what the percentage is, so we know.
Well, a municipality wouldn't be responding outside in the county. Like we would not respond inside the city. Everybody has their own jurisdiction. Smyrna covers everything inside the city of Smyrna. Laverne covers everything inside the city of Laverne. Murfreesboro covers everything inside the city of Murfreesboro. Anything in the rural area, we cover all the rural areas of it.
But
the only way they would come is if we call for mutual aid.
that's what I wanted to, that's what I say. How many times did we call? Did they answer each time we called? That kind of, just to keep track so we have an idea.
Well, just off the top of my head, I think probably yearly, we may request mutual aid from Murfreesboro maybe 2 or 3 times a year. When there's a big fire or a semi on fire on the interstate, they will call us because most of their trucks only carry 300 to 500 gallons of water. And because you have a big semi on fire, it takes a lot of water. So they'll call us for backup and bring our tankers out there because they don't carry as much water as we do. So we'll probably send 2 tankers out there, which would be 3,000 gallons per piece, which would be 6,000 gallons of water. But that's about the only time Murfreesboro will call us. And then we'll call them if there's a possible structure fire with people trapped or whatever, and it's a certain area we might not have good coverage, then we'll call them for that.
Okay.
But as far as that, I don't know if we really track that, Commissioner.
I'm thinking of it because I'd like to see what the value of some of these deals that we have with the mutual aid or so forth, to see if the price is worth or not. If we're getting our biggest bang for the buck on it with numbers. The operational side, that's your house. I'm just thinking on the number side as far as if we call them 10 times a year and they only answer us 4, why are we still paying them X number of dollars like we do every year? Kind of the why are we keep doing the same thing?
Who are we paying, Commissioner?
I'm using that as a hypothetical to make the example.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that so we have those agreements or what the status is. What are we relying on versus not? Anytime
we call for mutual aid between Murfreesboro, Smyrna, Laverne, they always respond. If they call us, we always respond. The only time you have somebody who won't respond but maybe if we get paged out with a volunteer fire department, they may or may not respond. Depends on their availability of people that day or that time of day. So I think what you're wanting would probably be more of a dispatch question through Chris. But as time goes on and we do these reports and I get this software updated, we'll be able to show you what each individual station runs.
See, I thought so too, but that's why he sent me to you guys up here just a minute ago, said that might be more of you. So I'd just like to get all 3 of us or 4 of us in the room to kind of see what I'm thinking. Because it might be, no dog to hunt there to try to figure out the numbers. What I'm trying to formulate and say, okay, does this value or not? It might say, hey, it's going to be more work than value, that it's not there. Yeah. But I'd like to have that conversation and sit down and figure that out.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, Sheriff's Office. Chief Spence.
Good evening. This morning, the inmate population was 996. This afternoon was 989. Update on our openings. Communications has 5 openings with 4 applicants in the background process. Detention has 27 openings. Narcotics has 1 opening. Patrol has 2 openings with 1 applicant in the background process, and the SROs has 2 openings. That's the end of my report.
Motion to approve. Second. You have a second. Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed?
Yes.
Okay, we'll move now into, I think you've got a budget amendment?
Yes, sir, and 2 grants. This amendment is to recognize revenue from the restricted for public safety to move funds into the drug fund building improvement, asking to take $200,000 from our restricted for public safety and place it into our drug fund building improvement line item.
You've heard the request.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve. Have a second. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Commissioner Beverly? Yes. Commissioner McMurray?
Yes.
Commissioner James?
Yes.
Commissioner Rather?
Yes.
Commissioner Oliver?
Aye.
Chairman Reed?
Yes.
We are requesting to apply for the State of Tennessee Mental Health Patient Transport Grant. The grant is a no-matching grant. The amount is based on the number of transports during the last year. This will be the fourth year we participated in this grant. If approved, we're requesting the mayor to be able to accept and sign for the grant.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a second. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Commissioner Beverly? Yes. Commissioner McMurray?
Yes.
Commissioner James?
Yes.
Commissioner Rather?
Yes.
Commissioner Oliver?
Aye.
Chairman Reed?
Yes.
We are requesting to apply for the financial year 25 Justice Assistant Grant with Murfreesboro Police Department. Allocation is equally divided between the City of Murfreesboro and Rutherford County from the Edward Bauer and Memorial JAG local allocation. We're requesting for the mayor to be able to accept and sign the MOU with the city if it's awarded. The range is from $28,000 to $34,000. It's a formula based on allocations for each agency.
You've heard the request.
Question.
Yes, ma'am.
What would the MOU consist of?
Just agreement on the money, how we would spend the money. We have to tell them what we're going to spend the money for, then we have to get to that dollar amount.
Is it like an equal allotment?
Sometimes the city gets a little bit more because it's not equal. It depends on how the allocation comes out. But it's close to within a couple $100 difference.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Beverly? Yes. Commissioner McMurray?
Yes.
Commissioner James?
Yes.
Commissioner Rather?
Yes.
Commissioner Oliver?
Aye.
Chairman Reed?
Yes.
Thank you. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you, sir. PAWS. Mr. Michael Gregory.
Good evening, Commissioners. For the month of March, we had 431 animals come into the shelter. We had a 7.2% euthanasia rate. Our dogs were 83.9% live release. Cats were 97.8%, and when wildlife were included, it came out to 90.9%. Surgery program was very busy. We had 279 surgeries through that program. Our officers completed out 1,303 calls for the month, traveling 7,586 miles. Fiscal year to date, 3,505 animals into the shelter. We had a live release rate of 91.7% and a euthanasia rate of 6.0%. Officers completed out a little over 10,000 calls, traveling 67,196 miles. Rabies exposure and bite report, this goes by calendar year. We had 48 bites for the month. One of those was sent for testing. It came back negative. And we had 13 other exposures, and none of those were sent for testing. Last page of the report is just the graph that I give you showing the outcomes, so you can see that on the graph. That's the report, sir.
Questions on the report?
I did have a question, Director. So your total reported bites, that 101, that's just like year to date. Is that what that is? That's not for the month of March?
I'm sorry, which one are you on?
On the bite report?
That is calendar year, so it restarts in January. Our report goes fiscal year, but everything with the state goes by calendar year.
And that means, and if nothing's listed there, that means everybody was clear, no rabies, right?
Yes, there was only one animal that was tested through a bite and one tested through other exposure, and both of those came back negative.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Other questions or a motion?
Motion.
Had a motion to approve and a second down here. All right, call the roll. So long ago. Yeah, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Has been approved. Yeah.
I do have permission to apply for a grant. We just learned of this. It's a 2025 ASPCA Rescue Effect grant. There's no county money. The grants depend upon your intake of animals, so ours could range anywhere from $3,300 to $20,000, depending on what tier we would fall in. Again, no county match. The money is to be used for adoption events during the months of August, September, and October. So we're asking to apply and accept that grant if awarded.
Question. You said the range would be anywhere from $3,300 to $20,000?
The $20,000, depending on which tier they put us in, and that can vary a little bit based on other adoption events or how much we've worked with them in the past. So I know that's a wide range, but there is no county money. So whatever we were awarded, we would not have to match anything.
And that's just for a year, or is this something you can reapply for? Or?
This is the first time that they've done something like this that I've been aware of. It's only, I think what their goal is to try to increase adoptions during kind of the warmest times of the month when shelters are more at capacity. So for that August, September, and October adoption events.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Have a second. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Beverly? Yes. Commissioner McMurray?
Yes.
Commissioner James?
Yes.
Commissioner Rather?
Yes.
Commissioner Oliver?
Aye.
Chairman Reed?
Yes. That got you?
Thank you all.
All right. Ready for OSHA?
Mr. Chairman, while Ed's coming up, let me kind of clarify that we've had a lot of requests for grants tonight, okay? And it's up to the committee whether or not they want to see the grant. Every grant that requires any kind of match has to come back. Those that don't require will only come back if the committee requests it to happen. So just a bit of clarification, and Michael sent me a kind of a text message clarifying that. So if there's a match, it always comes back. If there's not a match, but the committee wants to see it and see if what we got or how much that we got, we can request it to come back.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And on the situation you had up here a while ago, me calling for a roll call vote on that situation, you got to understand something. I've been sitting here since 8 o'clock this morning, except for 2 hours between this meeting and the other meeting, and you won't believe how many votes I've called for this morning, from property to we got into Plan Rutherford and discussed that, and my mind goes in neutral every now and then, so I have to kick it back in to get where we're trying to go, and please excuse me on that. OSHA.
Yes, sir. Eddie, I'm Insurance and Risk Management Director. For the month of March 2025, you will see the incident frequency at 15. For Board of Ed, they had 11. Rutherford County Government had 4. Highway had 0. Rutherford County Government, EMS had 1. PAWS had 1. Sheriff had 2. Incident frequency calendar year to date, there are 50. Total recordables, 32. Lost day claims, 5. Restricted day claims, 21. Other recordables, 6. Reserves, you will see there's 98,740. Year to date, 256,635. Amount paid, 47,778, with 4 claims closed. And that concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any questions?
Question. I noticed, I think this is the second month your report has looked a little different. Is there like a reason for the format change?
No, we just tried to it flows a little bit better, and we also tried to include the reserves and year-to-date reserves that's on there, and the year-to-date amount paid. It was kind of added later on, and so we just changed the report, but it basically is, the biggest part of it is the same information.
And are we still running below the state rate?
Yes, and
this incident rate at the bottom is correct?
Yes, so on the state rate where you see we will not get that number from the state until about October.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve. Got a second. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed? Report has been approved.
Thank you.
Ed, before you leave, to follow up on what Commissioner Oliver was asking, we have in the past got comparisons for this year to last year and a couple of previous years. Is that not available anymore?
That's on the 266. Yes, I can provide it on this one. Are we talking about dollars? What are we?
Yes.
Okay.
Accidents and dollars. We usually get a graph that kind of compares this year to the prior 2 years, and I think that's probably what Commissioner Oliver was looking for. We usually get those graphs in addition to your report.
Okay. I'll go back and take a look at it and see and revise it if we need to.
It gives us as commission something to look at to see how we're doing compared to prior years.
Okay.
We've seen some of those figures actually go down, even though our employees and the hours worked have gone up statistically. And if you look, Commissioner Oliver, at the bottom of that, it says the calendar year incident rate. That's an industry or a governmental standard, and if you compare us to other counties or other cities, we fare extremely well, and that's the telltale sign that a lot of us look at to see what that incident rate is and how it compares to others. So it's something that, well, that Ed and I have had lengthy conversations on, and this report kind of is a result of us getting more and more experience in this process, and this report tells us a whole lot.
It does, and I'll give credit to like the Sheriff's Department, the schools, and everybody. You know, when we talk about training, there's a lot of things that they look at. They look to train their own people, and they come. I know several times it catches my attention when they're asking for additional money for training, and we'll talk about it and see what it is that they're doing. So your departments and the Board of Ed are doing a great job with that training and the resources that they have. Thank you.
All right. Recovery Court. Good evening.
Good evening. Lindsay Davis, the Reentry Program Coordinator, filling in for Director Ricks. For the month of March, we had 183 participants. We had 16 graduates and 0 were terminated. For the DUI Day program, there are 20 participants. The evening program has 24 participants, and there are 17 applications in process. For the mental health court, there are 62 participants with 32 in process. The drug court has 57 participants with 41 apps in process, and then the Veterans Treatment Court has 20 participants with 17 apps in process. And that concludes the March report for Recovery Court. If you have any questions.
Commissioners, any questions on the report?
I do have a question. Hey, and I like this under the ones that are not placed in a program and the reasons why. I just kind of want to comment that I do like that because I have asked that question before. So this kind of gives us that information.
Perfect. Thank you, Commissioner.
Motion to approve.
A motion to approve. I'll have a second. Have a second. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, the report has been approved.
Thank you. And then we also have one request to apply for a grant as well.
Okay.
So we are asking permission to apply, similar to the other ones earlier, for a grant funding for the Community Reentry Reinvestment Grant through the Tennessee Department of Labor and Workforce Development and the Tennessee Office of Reentry. The maximum award is $150,000 and there is no match. This funding would be used to increase educational and vocational services, employment, and skills training for our justice-involved individuals, which would expand the work that we're currently doing. I'll be happy to answer any questions if I can.
Any questions on the grant?
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve.
Second.
Have a second over here. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Beverly? Yes. Commissioner McMurray? Yes. Commissioner Rather?
Yes.
Commissioner James?
Yes.
Commissioner Oliver?
Aye.
Chairman Reed?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you. All right. Probation? Hello.
Good evening. You should have my report for March. At the top of that report, we supervised during the month of March a total of 1,502 clients on probation. During the month, we did close out 191 cases, which equaled 163 people. In our various programs, I'm so sorry. In our various programs and classes listed, we had 72 enrolled, 16 that completed during the month, and 4 that were discharged during the month. Our treatment case managers completed 39 drug and alcohol assessments and 8 mental health assessments for the month. In our 10 Rocks Recovery Court with Judge Bennett, I believe your report says 18, but we actually had 16 clients during the month of March. We had 0 that successfully completed during the month of March, but we've had a graduation in the month of April where we had 4, and I wanted to follow up with you because I believe, Commissioner Oliver, last month, my assistant director presented this report and you asked whether or not 10 Rocks was at capacity. And she told you no, which is absolutely correct, but I just kind of wanted to let you know what capacity would be. Judge Bennett has indicated that he would like capacity to be around 30. We're currently at 12. Like I said, we did have 16 until 4 graduated. The requirements for 10 Rocks are you have to already be on misdemeanor probation, and then you have to violate probation either with a positive drug screen or a new arrest that involves illegal substances. So it's not just everyone that violates probation is technically eligible for that. We do look at all of those that meet that criteria. I just wanted you to know what capacity was and that no, we were not at it, just kind of to add a little bit to that. Yes, ma'am. With our Olive Branch, we had 5. I've developed a cough today. I'm so sorry. I have a cough drop in my mouth I apologize. 5 that received help during the month. And then on our financials listed at the bottom, we sent $20,731 for the month to payment plans with the clerks, which gave a fiscal year total of $137,247. The amount we sent, which could not go on a payment plan because the client hasn't signed a payment plan, is $11,733, and that fiscal year total is $58,684, and that would be my report.
You've heard the report. Questions? Or a motion? A motion to approve. Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Your report has been approved. Thank you. Correctional Work Center. William Cope.
Good evening. In your packet, first thing you'll find is the minutes from our Work Center board meeting. In that, in those meeting notes, you'll see a looks a little bit like I don't know. It's a bunch of words written on a piece of paper here, but what that is a note that some of our residents sent to a young lady that came in and helped her father do a concert recently. But it was just really nice to see that those guys thought so much of it that they went back there and wrote that letter for her. And then there's another email in there from one of our commissioners that was there for it. Next page is the work release program, which is going great as usual. Our yearly activity report, our population is staying about the same. Next is the total trash collected on county and state routes. County roads, county trash collected 14,886 pounds in the last month. And then on the state routes, they collected 720 bags of garbage. Now, that's not counting some of the bigger items also that we have to remove from those roads. The monthly worker report, you'll see there that the total combined savings of $63,208 or $63,208,000 over the last month using incarcerated labor. And then our CQI stats on the following page there. And then the last part of that is a picture of a floral arrangement. We were sent several of those by, of course, we marked his name out there, but one of our returning citizens was so pleased with the reentry services that we provided. He sent several floral arrangements up to the department within a week or so, and I just thought that was really nice that someone coming out of incarceration thinks enough once they're out on the street to thank the people that helped him, and that's just kind of a reflection of our staff there and the work that they do. Also, I just want to tell you that on March 7th, a combined effort with our reentry team, that we hosted an expungement clinic. I think that we talked a little bit about that, Commissioner James, our expungement clinic, and just to get you the results of that, 42 participants went through that clinic, and 398 records were submitted for expungement from that clinic, so which is huge. And we do about anywhere from 2 to 3 of those a year, working with our reentry team and then Belmont University College of Law. Also, this past weekend, we to celebrate Second Chance Month, we took 40 incarcerated individuals, a combination of males and females, to New Vision Church for our annual Blessed Family event, where they were able to join their families for a meal and a sermon. So I'd like to thank Pastor Brady and his staff of volunteers for everything that they do to make those events happen. It's usually a half-a-day event. It's really good when you see young men and women who've, spending time with their children at those events and being able to love on them and keep those family ties. And that is my report, and I also have one of those grant applications after hopefully my report is.
Have a motion to approve the report.
Second.
And a second.
I have a question.
Have a question.
Of course I do, right? I was looking at your minutes from your meeting and the issues, or I guess the note of the Vivitrol second dose is not followed up by the individuals. Are they given that information that they can come back and get the second dose? Or are they expected to get that elsewhere?
It's usually given elsewhere.
Okay. You have providers?
We do. We do have a list of providers that, and the first shot is given by us while they're incarcerated.
Right.
And then the second is usually after they're released, and then we will usually point them in the right direction through our medical staff as to where to go to get that second shot. And we've, over the years, we've been really successful with that. There were times when we didn't have a whole lot of requests for it, but with some of the substance abuse issues that we've got going on, we wanted to roll that back out again and make sure that everybody knew about it. So, but yes, the answer is yes.
Do you have any real numbers on that as far as?
I can get those for you. I'd have to get with our medical department, but I can get those for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? It is
Superintendent,
approved.
before you get into your grant, how's your staffing?
Well, we've got Lieutenant O'Cleary is sitting right back there, and he's saying 0, so we are completely staffed. Thank you for asking that.
Okay, I believe we have a litter grant, is that correct?
Yes, sir. Commissioners, this is the normal Department of Transportation Highway Beautification grant that we receive and have received for several years now, and we respectfully request to apply for that grant. Program provide the cost of performing litter pickup, which everybody I hope appreciates, and litter prevention education within the Rutherford County community. Rutherford County Correctional Work Center has been awarded this grant for several consecutive years and would like to continue this litter grant. If awarded the grant, we respectfully request that the county mayor be authorized to accept and sign the grant award agreement on behalf of the county. In the past years, we've received about $124,000 on that, and I suspect that we'll probably receive the full amount this year also.
Motion to approve.
A motion to approve.
Second.
Second. Any questions? Please call the roll.
Commissioner Beverly? Yes. Commissioner McMurray? Yes. Commissioner James?
Yes.
Commissioner Rather?
Yes.
Commissioner Oliver?
Aye.
Chairman Reed?
Yes.
Thank y'all.
And Chairman, if I could, before she leaves right there, I'd like to just point someone out that's in our attendance tonight, if that's okay.
That's okay.
For many years, don't cry, Diane, but for many years, our budget is balanced to the penny. And that is a direct reflection of Diane Chapman, who is right there, who is our financial superstar. One thing I don't know if you all noticed, but it's very rare that I ever come and ask for a budget amendment. Sometimes we go years without asking for a budget amendment. And that is not because of me, that is because of Diane Chapman right there. So for many years, she has balanced our budget, and if there's anything wrong in these reports, that also is Diane Chapman. So I would like to just let Diane know that everybody at our department thanks her for all the great work that she does. So thank you, Diane.
Thank you.
And thank you all.
All right, juvenile detention. Lynn Duke.
I just love following Bill. So tonight in front of you, you have the report that you're used to seeing. It's going to include the minutes from our Juvenile Detention Center Board. It's also going to have our yearly activity report. All of these items are going to be for the month of March. I would like to point out on the yearly activity report that probably for the first time in a long time, the planets have aligned and all of the checks came in before this meeting. Additionally, there is the STD report, our facility programming and educational information, and then the couple of other items I have. I don't know if you want me to go ahead and discuss. There are some MOUs, or I can wait.
Well, let's do your report, and then on the MOUs, we'll come back and approve those. I think they're all the same, aren't they?
There are two that, with the Board of Education, that you have seen before. The language is the same. There isn't not an exchange of any money. It's just an agreement about who will do what as far as education services are concerned. The last one is a amendment to a MOU with Williamson County. They chose to, well, I don't know if you want me to wait or
We'll wait and do
discuss
that.
it in a minute.
Let's just approve your report to begin with. Questions on the report?
Motion to approve the report.
Motion to approve. Do I have a second? Have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, it is approved. Now, let's get those.
Okay, so for the MOUs with the Board of Education, one of them is the first one is for basic educational services, and the second one is for supplemental educational services. These are same contracts that you've seen before. There is not a money exchange. It just kind of goes into detail as to who provides what service, whether it be the Board of Education or the Juvenile Detention Center. And we're getting these started so that they'll be this point in the year so that they'll be signed and ready to go for July 1st.
You've heard the request. Any
Motion
discussion?
to approve.
Motion to approve. We do have a second. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, unanimous decision. All right, I think the other one we will have a vote on. Explanation?
Okay, so the last thing you have in front of you is two parts. The first part you have, I don't know if the specific commissioners in this room were here for it, but back when the county mayor was Mr. Bill Ketron, this was the MOU with Williamson County as it first came through. They chose to not do the contracts like the rest of the counties did. They chose to do MOU, and at that time the county attorney and the county mayor agreed that it was appropriate and that it was fine. So I just included that as a little bit of history. Now we are to the actual amendment of this original MOU that gets this agreement up to date with our new $200 per day fee structure that we're using instead of what it was when this original MOU was signed. So all of that to say that this is an amendment to this original MOU, and it clarifies how much money we are now charging. It's just a different format than you're used to seeing, as this was an MOU instead of a contract.
Okay.
Question. I understand this is a MOU as opposed to a contract. What I don't understand is why the difference when we're doing the same thing for the other counties.
Originally, when we reached out to Williamson County as far as contracting, and well, technically they've reached out to us and they wanted to have an agreement where if they had young people that they wanted to send to another facility, they wanted to use us, and that we could in turn do the same with them. But they just wanted it to be a verbal agreement and no money exchanged, which wasn't something that anybody was interested in. And I think just through the two attorneys going back and forth, they decided on an MOU format. And anything really beyond that, and that the mayor agreed that that was appropriate at the time, I can't really say.
So I guess my question is, moving forward, can this align with the other contracts?
I can
commissioners that have been here before, is there a reason why this can't align with the other contracts?
It's not but two of us on the committee right now, but they did. It was written to align just like the others do. It's just the difference that Williamson County did not do the MOUs as compared to the others, is what I understand. Am I not right, Mr. Chairman?
They chose to do an MOU format as opposed to a contract. I can also, which I don't understand this, and I've talked to the county attorney about it repeatedly, they also were adamant that the one of the signatures on this format was for the judge of the juvenile court of Rutherford County, and we have explained to them repeatedly that the juvenile court judge and the Rutherford County Juvenile Detention Center are no longer in each other's chain, and that if approved through the committee process, the county mayor would be authorized to sign this, but that the juvenile court judge would not be signing it, and they said, that's fine, just leave it blank. So I think it was just a Williamson County attorney preference, perhaps, but beyond that, I can't actually say.
Thank you.
Ms. Duke, I think the mutual exchange, if we had someone that we wanted to send, we could send them there. And if they had someone they wanted to send, they could send them here. And that's different from a contract from other counties just sending one way. And I believe that was the reason for the...
Okay, because that's what I was trying to figure out, what was the difference. Okay, thank you.
Other questions?
Move to approve.
Motion to approve. Have a second. Have a second. Call the roll.
Commissioner McMurray,
Yes.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Commissioner Beverly, Commissioner Rather,
Yes.
Commissioner Oliver,
Aye.
Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, that's any other business? Other than we're going into A, compensation discussion.
Mr. Chair, I guess we had brought this up back in November, and I'd asked this to be put on the agenda last month. Just what are you guys thinking of what we could send potentially over to budget to explore? Open it up from there.
Repeat half of that. I missed the second half of what you just said.
What anybody thinks, you know, any avenues they'd like to approach, what we might like budget to take a look at. Open it up from there.
What we're referencing was, if y'all remember last summer and fall, I was going around with the different roll calls of the different, the badge services, the sheriffs, the fire halls, et cetera, was getting a list, which I've actually got right here, of some ideas that they were saying of things they wanted. I told them then, and the mid-year raise kind of hurt in a way, because I don't want to just chase base pay. There's a lot of other things that will really help us out with our culture, the things like the pay schedule, like longevity pay, like insurance plans and things for us to work on. If y'all remember last winter, Mr. Beverly had brought something up in November, and it was sudden numbers, quick referencing, and it kind of threw me back, and I shot that back at the moment, and then we had back and forth, and it was a cumbersome project. And so I asked a lot of commissioners if they would help trying to take a chunk. Mr. Beverly chose and offered to take on some of the benefit or the pay scale side. Mr. McMurray offered to take on some of the healthcare side, the insurance side, and I'd already started on longevity, so I took that and was looking at that. And there's a few things that we'd like to see with some suggestions, more recommendations to try to send to budget to see how the numbers flush out this year. Might be too late for this budget year, but it's going to get the discussion discussed, get it start moving, start going and showing the direction that we feel that our public safety department needs to go and needs to start looking at. Like one thing, for example, was I don't know if we've done this application for military service retirement credit that the state offers. Have we signed up for that? Have we approved that and sent that to the commission and we're locked into that? If not, I highly recommend that's something we take a good look at and send a request to look deeper at that, make sure that they have that access. And I've got a copy of just the application form, but that's the application for military service retirement credit through the state. I'd like to see is there a cost for us? Do we know? Does anybody remember or know if that's something on the radar that's going, or I brought up some of the other issues in the previous months, the idea of when, like our firemen are on service or on duty and are working out to maintain their physical readiness, are they covered? Not while they're off duty, but while they're on duty. Are they covered in case of an injury or something like that? Thoughts and questions that I'd like to start going back and forth and getting the answers on, and things that I'm hoping maybe Mr. McMurray has worked on that. But not to get out of my wheelhouse, the one that I agreed to take on was longevity pay. And if I may continue, Mr. Chairman. I had 3 proposal ideas for longevity pay. I've given each one of you, I believe, a copy. Did I get you a copy? I'll bring one up to you. I wanted to see which way we recommend budget to go through. And hey, Ramel, can you take this copy?
Thank you.
My intent with the longevity pay scale, which is currently at $25 per year, vesting after 3 years, and then I don't believe there's a top out, it's just vesting after 3 years. So after 3 years for longevity to the county, it's $75. I was looking at 3 different proposals with the intent of, if any one of these proposals are submitted or we find the numbers to push through, that it should be in the form of a physical check, separate from the regular payroll, and handed out to each employee via their direct supervisor. It's what it is, longevity pay. A thank you for being here this year, a actual physical presence to acknowledgement of you and present. And handed annually, preferably the first Monday after Thanksgiving, towards the end of the year at that moment. Of this list, you'll see Proposal A. This is kind of the high hit, right? It's the amount of each longevity paycheck should be equal to 1/2 of the employee's regular monthly payroll with standard pay, not overtime facturation. This is meant to reflect the years of service combined with the years of experience, additional skills or duties that the employee has taken on and provided the county with for the past year. So as they raise their own skill set and value and years of use of service to the county, they also raise their own longevity pay with that. Or Proposal B. As you can see on that breakdown, it has the years of service, the cycle, and the amount. We take something similar to what we have. We go from $25 a year after year 3. We do years 0 to 5 as vesting, and that's year 0. That's your entry to market. Years 6 through 10, annually paid out at $500 per year. And 11, 15, 16 to 20, 21 to 25, all increasing another additional $500 per cycle. 26 plus years, that's going to be capped at $2,500 per year. That's Proposal B. Or Proposal C. The $100 per full year of county service, beginning after the completion of a calendar year, $100 added per year, capped at retirement year plan 30, with a max allowable of $3,000. Fiscal year requirement amounts not prorated for either new hires or retirees will only reflect years of continuous service to the county. So as far as longevity pay, those are one of 3. If you have any one of you have any other ideas or suggestions or tweaks, I'd love to hear it. Love your recommendations. But these are some of the ideas that I came up with boots on the ground. And this is, for me, this is helping the public safety side, the badge services of our county, who are, unlike many other departments, during Christmas are still on duty. Overnight are still on duty. 24 hours or 48 hours operation for some of them are still on duty. Seeing some of the worst stuff that our society has and are on duty, versus trying to reach out and help them in those different forms and different ways. So with that, I would like to lead to Mr. Beverly on the pay scale, unless we want to try to send one of these at a time.
just more, which one do you lean towards?
The order I'm leaning towards is C as a first choice, A as a second choice, and I know proposal A is going to be the hard swing, the big hit. And I see down the road, if we start preparing for it, that might be the go. But I see C as the primary choice and A as the secondary choice.
Which employees will it apply to?
I argue that this is for public safety, as in...
Who is public safety?
I would argue that the badge services, the sheriff, the fire, the EMS, the animal control, the ones that go out at night, the ones that are on 48-hour duty, the ones that are away like that. I know there is an argument to do a county-wide, and that might be an argument to take up, and budget might take that.
Dispatch?
These recommendations. Say again?
Dispatch?
Dispatch, yes. I look at essentially, we're a public safety committee, and the public safety that reports to us is who we need to consider. Although I do recognize that there might be some variances in that. I'm primarily looking at the badge services as I committed the deputies, the fire, EMS, animal control.
Have you figured out a cost that would come from each one of these?
I've got some rough numbers, and that's why this is more of a recommendation to send a budget to help us find the numbers. If we can put some kind of plan of saying this is something along the lines that we would like to look for and like to get to, what will it take? What are you seeing? Is it not likely? Is it likely? I have every indication that budget will push it back to us in several different ways to say these numbers or these numbers, but we can't do this size of number, and then we tweak accordingly. So I'm not in any impression that any of this will make it this budget cycle, but we need to start the conversation, and we need to see what we can put together and have it the back and forth go through. That's my opinion.
I'm kind of like you. I like proposal C might be the first one, and then we work from there. I think it's already divided by hours. I think that might be the simpler option for HR, but we would need to obviously get some feedback from them. But I'm like you. I think C would be the potential path forward. If you'll remember, Commissioners, back in November, I made a presentation, and I attached an excerpt, or I requested an excerpt to be attached to this, just showing some of the difference in salaries and how we're falling behind. Keep in mind, we approved a 4.25% raise to the table, or adjustment to the table on this, and that was in conjunction with this committee, budget, the full commission, and the mayor's office to take that proactive step. But I feel like we still have a need to address the salary, and this could be coupled with longevity. If you look just on the attachment at patrol deputy, the starting salary back then was $52,822. They received a 4.25% raise to the table, but that's still very, very close. Now Smyrna Police is north of $64,000. Murfreesboro Police is at $65,000. When you get into a 5-year deputy compared to Murfreesboro Police and Rutherford County Sheriff's Office, it's a $20,000 a year pay difference. That is quite extensive. So I feel like we need to look at our salary adjustment using market studies to see where we fall, and ask budget to give us kind of a feasibility of where we would go. I kind of look at this as a two-prong approach. Feasibility coming from budget to tell us what the numbers would cost, and then us as a full commission decide on the timing of that being executed. That's can be done. We need to get feedback from the mayor. He needs to be included on what his budget considerations are for this year, what he's looking at potentially addressing in this, to make sure we're all working together and communicating clearly with the employees. Because I'll just be clear, I've heard it directly from employees. There are some waiting to see what we do in the next 2 months, and they will decide their career path forward. And these are employees that it will take north of a year to get replaced. So we want to make sure that we're doing this concisely. We have the numbers from budget, but we are all moving together, being a county commission, our HR department, and the county mayor's office, to make sure this is all being communicated. So I think your goal tonight was just to try to get some feasibility, and then we'll come back to the timing of when we want to execute the options we decide, right?
I want to show our positioning of what we're hoping and where we're wanting to get to where we'd like to start, where we'd like to end up, and then get budget involved to throw back real numbers for real possibilities. So we can take these two things in tandem with our department heads telling us this works, this doesn't work, and so forth. So we can come up with a good plan to do the whole table as a whole and figure it out and figure out the real numbers that we're looking at moving forward versus just repeating history or only chasing base pay. Because now, I will admit, sometimes with especially in this rabbit hole here, I get a little tunnel vision, and sometimes I have to realize the employees just want the base pay. Maybe they just want the extra $100 a month and not want the extra, the side stuff. And we need to consider that. That's a weakness I have. I get stuck on tunnel vision trying to do the whole thing, and that's why I really appreciate y'all stepped up to help out and kind of break this up into pieces so that we could actually try to see what can be done. But we owe it to them to at least get the dialogue started, to get movement. Even, like I said before, if it doesn't happen for this budget cycle, to show the intent, show the movement, so we're not sitting back next year going, well, if we just started that back then, we'd be there.
I agree. Anybody else?
I was just going to say, when you talked about the base, they just want the base pay of the package. And I agree that is oftentimes the case because they don't understand the dollar amount associated with whatever benefits are available. So you have to include that number too, so they can look at that as well. Because it's like, okay, do I want to pay for my insurance or do I want them to pay for it? You know what I mean? What would that look like? Would be good to include that in the package or the presentation as well, so they know a dollar amount of what those benefits are doing.
True, and in addition, the idea of if budget comes back and says it costs us this much extra dollars that we don't have yet, we need to do that, that would indicate a potential tax increase. Well, I don't want to just throw it out there and think that we're right. I want to find out if you're talking that this would cost a tax increase, I want to be able to go out and say, this amount will cost us $20 a month or $20 a year increase versus I want to give it to the real numbers to the citizens so they know what numbers we're actually talking about, because I'm not wanting to do a tax increase. I'm wanting to find a way to do it, but we've got a tight budget. We've got to figure it out. But for me, the first step in figuring it out is find out what you want, what you're trying to do, and then second step is find out the numbers so you can find out if the numbers will line up into that. And that's, so yeah, it's more than just having the number to present. It's also the number of, will this cost the citizens more, keep it the same, how much, and then break it down in real numbers, because they don't know, a lot of times don't have the understanding, or they have it, but they don't want to do the quick formula. It helps if they just give you a rough number and estimate it for them.
Yes, anything on benefits?
So for me, excuse me, echoes everything that both of you have said, especially Commissioner Beverly. I get weekly concerns as well regarding what we're trying to do. I feel like the need and the urgency is pretty quick, but at the same time, we want to make sure we do it in a manner that's fiscally conservative and can fit in our budget. So I'm looking into working in the insurance part of it all. So I'm going to be speaking with insurance and risk management, things like that, because it includes what falls in the same line as what Commissioner Oliver said, the benefits package. And so a lot of times some just cares about the base pay, and some cares about both base and benefits. So we just have to see what the need is, and at the end of the day, we just got to make sure we just try to take care of those who take care of us. And, you know, we can find monies everywhere else for other things. We need to find monies to take care of those who's on the front line for us every single day. So that's why I'm glad we're doing this, and I think this will kind of help the morale of those who think that they are forgotten or that we don't care. So thank you, Commissioner Beverly and James, for leading this and to allowing us to be a part of it. I'm going to be talking, like I said, to insurance and risk management to see what we can include in the benefit packages to make sure we're getting the best bang for our buck.
think looking forward, we had mentioned there was a salary study done back in January. I think that was initially what you wanted to table to February for, maybe having budget reference that as a potential basis of a market adjustment. We look at the longevity proposals that you have, I think starting where if this committee has a consensus, or we can look at potentially all three, just so we have those real numbers. I still go back to what was presented also in November of raising the experience recognition from 5 to 10 years could provide some compensation differences, but also rewarding employees for something that the county is already benefiting from. And then also looking at restructuring our law enforcement table to maybe be a public safety table, and then bring some of those positions onto that table. So I think that would be kind of what I'm thinking, but what are y'all's thoughts? That's kind of 4 main points to task budget to look at.
Well, you're lining up great with looking at the 10-year experience level, and I think they're already starting to look at that. I just haven't heard concrete that they are, so you're there.
That's why I was asking, do you have any idea what the total cost of what you're talking about here, putting them together? Because when you go to the budget, you're going to have to come up with a figure of what you're looking at. It's not necessarily the way you do it or how you do it, it's what it's going to cost. And you can come up with great ideas in what we want to do, and I totally agree. We support them in every way that we can. But if you don't know how we're going to pay for it or how much it's going to be, it's the same situation when everything we do. I want that, but I don't have any idea what it's going to cost and how it's going to do it. We're going to have to come at some way of, okay, I see here where you got years of service. You're going to have to look at those guys and say, okay, who's got this many years of service? And look at them and total them up and say, okay, that's what it's going to cost, and pull it down. And the reason I know that, I've done that. I've done that by going over here and sitting down in HR and going through all the records of everyone that was in those departments. And if you won't get cross-eyed real quick, you need to try that. But we did it one time and went through every one of those and looked at them. And you'd be surprised what some are and what some aren't. And if you're wanting to be fair with everybody out there, you've got to do that. And I think when you sit down with Sonia and see where those are and where it's going to, it's not something you would do overnight. And that's where you would have to go and get some of this done.
Yes, and that's where I started. I handed out this copy of this to all the department heads until I ran out of copies, and there's a couple I have to get more copies out to tonight. It's easy when they're all in the room, all can join, to get that started to help me break down and figure out numbers per group that I need. And we can get more realistic numbers than just my rough shot of trying to connect. And then take those numbers they're saying and match it up with Sonia and HR and kind of piecemeal together. This was, for me, it was just saying, hey, this is where I'm working, this is where I'm at. Do y'all have any critiques for any one of these proposals? Is there one that we can narrow down to focus on as our group to begin? Because pulling numbers for multiple different programs makes you more cross-eyed than just going through the one. And so if y'all could help me fine-tune and minimize even more,
You'll have to go to HR sometime, though.
Yes, that's after.
Because that's where I got cross-eyed when I was trying to figure out how they do this and how you do that one. And
for me, it's
the step system or whatever you got.
For me, I'm just wanting to make sure I keep fine-tuning a little closer, so I'm not trying to build 3 sets of numbers. In this case, we can tweak it to agree on one set to go hunt, and then we know what we're really hunting.
Get it, tell you what you understand. I know the last time we done that, and that's when Mayor Ketron was there. And that the proposal was doing just public safety and going this way. And it took off in it took off in a life by itself. Then it got down to the point that, okay, we've got to look at every employee and what we can do across the board for everybody. And that's what happened in that direction at that time. I remember it very well. You may remember it, Commissioner Rather. And they had to come back and do the whole thing. Sheriff, you may remember all of that. And because what happens is, who do you overlook sometimes, and where it goes that way. So, you know, I commend you for wanting to do the best for them and where you want to go, but you got to get some answers and go that way.
Yes, but I'd like to get us to help me figure out one path to start focusing my answers towards.
So I think what I'm thinking, if you're wanting to go this way, you're going to come up with these answers, and at least by our May meeting. Am I wrong?
Question.
We can't approve it without some idea of cost.
Question. So could HR just run a report on the particular employees and how long they've been here?
Not that easy.
I mean,
They do
done HR reports before, so I'm just like,
for longevity basis.
yeah.
I believe there is a capability, just on my conversation, and I could be mistaken, that they can prove or run the total amount of, I guess, years of experience of everybody combined, and that should give you a roundabout.
From the time they were hired to present.
now.
I mean, I've run those kind of reports before, so that's why I'm like, that seems like a
I've
simple
seen
enough
those.
report to run.
I've seen some organizations I've worked with in the past have been able to do that. I don't want to misspeak, but I would think there might be a way there.
Well, unless there's an objection or a tweaking of the proposal, I'm going to move forward with proposal C and follow up and try to get real base numbers on that and follow up from that one. And
Commissioner Oliver, I know what you're talking about, but yet there are other steps you would have to go through to get into that.
Yes.
And go that way.
They have that report ready to go. Just got confirmation they have that report ready to
Oh,
go.
okay, good. That's what I kind of thought we should be.
You're thinking option C. So I guess to sum this up, let's examine the cost of adopting option C on your proposal, or I'm going to make a motion that we ask budget to examine the cost of option C on your proposal, examine the cost of a market study adjustment based on the salary study that was done in January, examine raising experience recognition from 5 to 10 years. I know it's already been discussed, but let's actually put a dollar amount on it. And then amending our current law enforcement pay table, tweaking that to add positions that are rapidly changing to that table. That way it's easier to tweak. But those four items get forwarded to budget for feasibility's sake, and then at the full commission meeting, let's start to discuss timing and get take every commissioner's temperature on the timing we potentially want this to go. I have mine. I'd really like to see it next budget year, but there's 21 commissioners, there's a county mayor, there's an HR office, and there's a finance office that all needs to be involved. But I think those 4 table legs moving forward could really establish kind of that, confidence from the employees that we're moving in the right direction. Any thoughts?
John, would you add on your motion to make sure that we allowed application for the military service retirement credit, or at least get the information, more details of that, make sure we're in that, and then restate your motion?
Yes, I'll restate for Carlos' sake. And I just want to add how excited I am for this, because I think we have an opportunity to really accomplish some great things over the next 2 months and really show that we're being forward-thinking with our employees and how we want to be compensating them. So I commend all of you and thank you. So to restate my motion, I'm moving that we examine the cost of adopting option C on the longevity proposal. That is $100 for every year of service for our employees. We examine the market adjustment to salaries that was done on the most recent salary study. We examine raising experience recognition from 5 to 10 years. we amend the law enforcement services table to reflect any other positions in first responders that might need to be tweaked more frequently than others. That could be include firefighters or the fire department and EMS, and then explore the application of the military service retirement credit for our employees. So those five approaches, that would be my motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Okay. Call the roll.
Commissioner McMurray,
Yes.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Commissioner Beverly,
Yes.
Commissioner Rather,
Yes.
Commissioner Oliver,
Aye.
Chairman Reed.
Yes. Okay, it's up to, you got the ball. It's up to you. Okay, item B, it's a special call, public safety meeting, Thursday night, May 1st. I've just been informed that night is also a special night of prayer. National prayer at 6 o'clock. So our meeting begins at 5:30. So just to inform you, you need to get here somewhat early. If you're going, they'll be on this side over here. So you'll need, huh? They'll be out there. We'll be in here.
Oh, we still meet here. You're just saying it'll be crowds here, basically.
It could be a crowd in your parking and where you need to get to, so do that. But let me explain what you're doing. This has just been a call meeting for what is involved here. It deals with the Rutherford County Corrections Partnership Group. This has been a group that's been involved, Sheriff, what, 2 years? 2 years of a organized group that's been made up of individuals that's been selected, I think, by the mayor and you. Is that has put? Okay, but this group was formulated by the mayor and the sheriff and individuals that's interested in our detention center here, and where we are and where we're going and what it's going to be. And I happen to be on that group, and we have been looking very closely at where we are with the detention center, what kind of shape that it's in and things of that type. We have asked for a study through the County Technical Assistance Service. They've done a thorough study of it. In fact, we have a full needs assistance report here that we'll be presenting that night. In fact, I think there's 2 presenters. And Sheriff, do you want to come forward and make any comments concerning all of this?
Mr. Chairman, while he's walking up, could it be possible to get a copy of that made and provided to us in our box so we have it pre-read before the meeting?
I don't know how, I think there are some here, I'm not sure.
We don't have them with us, but yes, we can get copies to you. What this is we have looked at the need, and this has been growing. Actually, COVID helped us in that it decreased our population at the jail. Since then, we've had a steady increase, and we've gotten back to and surpassed the numbers we were pre-COVID. We hit 1,003 this weekend, and of course a lot of that is where we have weekenders come in and they serve time, and then when you get a long weekend such as a holiday or something like that, the courts are not open, and then of course our population increases. We have not been able to get below 970, 975 for some time now. We saw the need. It was not going to decrease. The size of the county is increasing, and of course with that, those of us that are in law enforcement realize that the bad comes with the good. And since we're the recipient of anybody arrested within the county, no matter what police agency arrests them, then we're the recipient of that. I've talked with Bob Bass, who's Tennessee Corrections Institute. Then we also got Jim Hart, who's with County Technical, that does the jail studies. They've done a very thorough study going back several years back, and then projecting several years into the future. as to what our needs are going to be in this county. And that's the purpose of the meeting. Both of those individuals will be here on May the 1st to make that presentation to the commission, and of course put to public safety, but then to the commission, any of the commissioners that will attend. And I think it's going to probably take about an hour, maybe an hour and a half as far as the presentation, because it's a very thorough presentation that covers all aspects of the jail, but it also looks at the workhouse and some other things that are associated with that. So that's the purpose of the meeting.
Question.
Yes.
I didn't hear your answer, Sheriff, when Commissioner James asked about us being able to have copies on Thursday. Will we be able to have copies to follow along with
Yes.
the presentation?
Yes, there'll be copies presented to every commissioner that attends.
Thank you.
Yes.
Be up on the screen as well.
And it'll be a presentation on the screen where they will highlight the points. It would take us half a day to go through the entire study, but what Jim Hart will do will highlight the points that are essential to showing what our needs are going to be in this county. But yes, every commissioner will be given a copy. Any other
questions? We'll look forward to having you here Thursday night. Anything else should come before this group?
Chairman,
Yes, sir.
this is public safety related. I graduated high school in 1983. I went in the mayor's office a while ago, picked up a piece of bubble gum that I swear was from 1983. It about broke my jaw. It didn't taste anything like bubble gum. So I would like to publicly, and Carla can pass this along to the guy with the big office, if it's not fresh, don't put it out there. It's going to hurt somebody.
We're saving that for the cornerstone of the new jail.
Today I got a old peppermint that looked like it was a Christmas color theme on the peppermint that tasted also like it was from 1983, so there is a mark.
Well, we'll keep that in mind. Donations are accepted for candy. We will not wait until Halloween. We'll take it now. Anything else needs to come forward? Because if we don't get out of here for long, the chairman and myself have been here 12 hours already. All right, we are adjourned.